starting a new one right now. All right. Well, we just watched what may have been one of the one of the just ugliest games I've seen in the McVay era. Like, it was just bad football. There's definitely signs of like 2022, of like just messy football, lackluster offense, poor blocking, even worse defense. I'm convinced that inside linebackers Reader and Roseboom have double-handedly, not single-handedly because it's two of them, but double-handedly set LA back 3 years. I don't understand how they are starting caliber defensive players. Like, they're really not. Like, it's not even out of emotion of their doing bad right now. They've just never done good. Even on the Super Bowl run, Troy Reader was just always a weak point. Like, I don't understand how they're allowed to stay starting. Like, how do you not try Spates? I know everyone was excited because Spates was great in the preseason. Like, it's got to be better than what they're doing. Like, constantly just not helping in the run game. And I feel bad for, like, Turner and Fisk and Bobby Brown because, like, yeah, you're going to get, like, if you're getting double teamed, you're going to give up some ground. Like, their job is to soak up blockers.
You miss it?
Falcons made it. Falcons make a game-winning field goal as we're recording this. Wow. Young Wei Koo. Yeah, off topic here, but Young Wei Koo with a game winner. Big dog. Cardi hit some big kicks for the Ram too, but yeah, run defense is atrocious. Like, you really want to see, like, your guys are getting double teamed. It's the linebacker's job to step in to help out with their run fits. Like, safeties are always going to be their last, but you're constantly watching the Rams defense, like the safeties and the DBs getting taken on by tight ends and tackles because the linebackers are not there to help. Oh, Ray, yeah, like, absolutely. Middle of the defense is vulnerable. That's a word I would use. The middle of the defense is negligible at this point. Yeah, Miguel, I just watched the kick. That's incredible. I just don't get. I don't understand how those two are still starting for LA's defense. I could sit here and yell at the clouds about it all day, but this is so stupid. Like, you know why your team is going to lose the game when you're sitting there watching it. It's like such a slow burn. Yelto, do you have any thoughts? I haven't heard you make a sound since the game ended.
No thoughts? Just gotta play better football.
Gotta play better football.
Hey,
Mess. It's just bad football.
what's Giltail?
Bad football.
Didn't make enough plays to win the football game, and didn't make enough plays to win the football game. That's just how it worked.
How do you feel about a lack of penalties ever given to Matthew Stafford for clearly getting hit in the face at the end of the game, which should extend the drive? 99% of quarterbacks get that call.
Yeah,
It's easy. Easy call.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think, in fairness, I'm not trying to get fined by the league for the officials, but look, you unfortunately you can't leave a game result to the officials. That one play does not dictate the outcome of the game. A football game is made up of a number of series that will ultimately dictate the final score, and I think that in that regard, yeah, sure. You can say what if, but there are so many what ifs in that game. What if the Rams convert in the red zone? They left. I want to say that the Rams left at least 12 points on the board. Just by the remainders of touchdowns, right? So, it's an unfortunate part of the game, and just didn't make enough plays to win the football game.
God, this mic is heavy.
What other questions you got?
Are you ready to play inside linebacker for the Rams? That's my question, because I've been very adamant since week one. That's a problem, and everyone's been loud since Ernest Jones got traded. And this is supposed to help the team, in the words of McVay, even though he did not seem happy about the trade, or even get asked about it. He clearly was not happy. So, are you ready to play inside linebacker for the Los Angeles Rams?
Yeah, look, my role here is no face yellowtail, right? So I think in that regard, it's a situation where me personally, no, I'm not physically ready to play inside middle linebacker. However, I will say that there is something to be said about looking at all your options, and I think that if you look at how the Rams have performed this year, right? They obviously had a very impressive win against the San Francisco 49ers last weekend. However, I mean, the Rams have given up at least 24 points in every game that they've played this year, and I think that you're not going to win a lot of games when you're giving up 24 points a game. I think, obviously, if you're a team that runs and guns and puts up 34 points a game, right, then, people might not worry quite as much about the 24 number. But at the end of the day, right, you need to get stops, and you need to convert in the red zone, and those are things that the Rams just didn't do today.
Very, very, very good answer. But I will give the non-politically correct answer. They fucking suck. The inside linebackers fucking suck.
I'm at the podium. Keep going.
Oh, you keep going? All right. No face yellowtail. How do we feel about the play calling that was on the offensive side with a lot of play action? Started seeing some traction in the run game in the second half. But what would you get off the play action if it wasn't just one or two deep passes to Robinson over the middle? It was a screen to Parkinson, a screen to Kyren for no yards.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think one of the biggest things, going back to my previous answer, is that the play calling in the red zone just didn't get it done. I think it's one of those situations where it's just not consistent enough. I think you'll, as you said, Tuna, you go to the run, it works, and then you shy away from the run. And I think that the good teams will continue to go to the well of what works. And I think you saw it very clearly here. The Rams had no trouble moving the ball up and down the field all day. And I think that when you consider that they didn't have any trouble, you're left wondering, well, how did they only end up with 18 points? And that's because, well, they didn't finish in the red area. When the Rams were working throughout this game, they excelled in the middle third of the field. They were not very good in their own third, right, as you saw in those last couple drives where, I mean, really quick, and I hate to interrupt you here, Tuna. This is just...
You're forgiven.
This is the no-face yellowtail, soapbox here. We're going to call this the fresh catch of the day. Listen, it's wild caught, this take, but, you saw the drive before this this last one that ended the game. I mean, the Rams got the ball off of that Torrey Taylor punt. They were on... I think they started at their own 12-yard. Wherever they started, they were within their own third, right? And I think what did they get? They went 3 and out, right? And immediately punted. And credit Ethan Evans for flipping the field back. But if you go back to just that drive, I mean, the Rams with a golden opportunity, right, to get a chunk play. Yeah. And work your way down the field. Really, they had so much time to work with. You had about 4.5, 5 minutes. Didn't need to rush. You still had 2 timeouts. You really just had to kind of work inside the hashes. And first play, you're talking about a stretch to the outside that, you saw the play develop, right? Just crumbled in a minute.
Yeah, they're not. Dude, Bears, give credit to Bears defense. They're very good. Said that. But also, there's room for the Rams. Obviously, clearly the Rams could score, but they just went away from it. The first 3 drives that got them in the red zone where they didn't score touchdowns, they end up with field goals just because they're constantly. It does feel like once they get in the red zone, they change their approach. The first 2, great runs down the field, and then all of a sudden you get in the red zone, and now we're dealing cute play action, pulling a guard, pulling a tackle for Parkinson to get 1 yard. Another play action, cutesy, and then we're doing a screen to Kyren Williams. It's there's so much smoke and mirrors when that's not smoke and mirrors works when the ground and pound is working consistently over and over and over, or the deep shots are working where there's a fear of the deep. The defense had no fear of the Rams offense, but that's one thing that's fine. This couldn't be the Bears game coming out party of the rush attack or them just closing out a game. But Oh my god, I have to go. I can't not unsee what I just saw. There's no reason why those two inside linebackers should be starting the rest. They should not be starting anymore.
Listen, this is what I will say. Going back to the play calling, and obviously I'm happy to answer whatever. No Faced Yellowtail's happy to answer whatever questions going on in the chat. Throw some F's in there if you're,
Nick said
feeling
this
it.
is the bluefin yellowtail
Bluefin Yellowtail.
post game presser.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Bluefin Yellowtail post-game press. Sponsored by Trader Joe's Orange Chicken. Listen,
Sponsored by. Thank you to Trader Joe's Orange Chicken for sponsoring.
for fueling. No, I think at the end of the day, and this is a very semantic take, right? Football is a north-south sport, right? The
Yeah.
team that wins the trench battle is more than likely going to win the game.
Cliches
And-
are cliches for a reason. Though,
Right,
because they're
and-
usually correct.
And that's totally fine. But having said that, right, you have to work north in order to get to the end zone. I love the rhetoric of, oh, you got to get it outside, right? You have to do this. You have to do, and you have to take what the defense gives you.
Yeah.
And if you saw what the defense was giving, what Chicago's defense was giving the Rams all day, was very shallow boxes,
Yeah.
lots of pressure coming off the edges. Why would you go to the pressure
Yeah,
when the
and-
pressure is coming at you from the sides? The middle of the box, and as you saw with a lot of those chunk plays to whether it was Tutu or DeMarcus Robinson, the middle of the field was wide open. And when you consider the middle of the field's wide open, why aren't you continuing to attack those areas? And I think that's one of the... Wait, hold up, Tuna. Hold up. Again, I need you to reel it back in. Now, listen.
Really? Oh, fish. We're doing the fish puns already.
Well, I mean, this, listen. What I'm going to say here again is that it shows a lot of consistency with, or issues with consistency with this offense and defense. I mean, the defense had one or two really good stops, right? Quentin Lake played excellent down the stretch. Really had some key tackles that were fantastic, but at the same time, you just one guy isn't going to change everything.
Yeah.
And especially when you see the amount of missed tackles again, after 2 weeks of it, you just see a lot of glaring inconsistencies.
I say 4 weeks. I say 4 weeks. So as you're talking about, like, they kept going back to that stretch play. The one thing that it differs, and I could be wrong, I'll have to look at what the personnel usage was, but it definitely looked like they were only ever in 11 personnel the entire game. I didn't see two tight ends, unless I'm just completely not making sense. I'm okay with 11. Like I said, like they can do 11 if they go north south, like you're talking about. But the stretch plays worked when you got two tight ends. They didn't have them out there.
I think having said that, right? I think you're right. It's not something I noticed either. But Davis Allen was active, and I think that one thing that has been said, over the course of this past summer, heading into the season, was the desire to run more 12 personnel with the two tight ends. You have Colby Parkinson, who's a big body, can aid in the block. The blocking game, both in the pass and the run. Davis Allen does a very good job of that as well, as he did last year. I'd say Davis is a little bit more of your prototypical receiving tight end than Colby, but having them both on the field certainly stretches things. But I think, going to your point, I don't recall seeing very much of Davis Allen today, if at all.
I did not. So definitely, when you don't really have a strength on the offensive line currently that you can hang your hat on, because they had a decent game last week, but also struggled. Oh wow, just a insane. I think Texans just got a safety. The Texans just get a safety on the final play of the game. Not that it matters, but anyways, got a lot of games still finishing up on a red zone from the morning half, so I'm a little distracted. But yeah, Bears ended up winning. Every Rams fan's worst fear of what couldn't go wrong did go wrong in that game. Didn't stop the run. Caleb Williams didn't get sacked enough. And the reason why that matters is that you looked at our breakdown. Like the Bears' offensive line has been piss poor so far. Like they never even broke 70 or 80 yards in a game this season. They had over 100 against the Rams, pretty much punctuating what was wrong with the defense. Everything else, everything else said that they did not do well. I'm hanging my hat again, and I'm gonna keep pounding my freaking kitchen table. The inside linebackers got to get benched. They can't. They clearly are not up to speed for whatever reason. They are a weak point in this defense. Everything is kind of dominoing effect from there. Defensive line gets double teamed, and they have zero help from the linebackers. The linebackers are not either stepping up to take on those blocks. They're not stepping in the run fill. And when the few times where they finally do, they're just too slow and they miss every tackle in the whole, allowing over 4 yards of carry. And then that dominoes into the secondary as well, because then they're in pass coverage, and then DJ Moore scores a touchdown. Albeit, like, DJ Moore will probably score against most linebackers, but there was no contest. Like, if they're on the island at all, like, I'm curious to see, like, when targeting those two guys through 4 weeks, what are quarterbacks' completion percentages? Like, if it was perfect rating, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, listen, I'm about to bluefin tuna, no face tuna or no face yellowtail.
Get your nickname right.
No face yellowtail is about to sign off here. However, I think you're right. I think what you would find is the passer rating is going to be very high. The completion percentage is going to be very high. The yards sacrificed are going to be very high. You're going to have very few, if any, pass deflections. You're going to obviously have no forced turnovers. And I think that when you consider, what do offenses do? They are trained to target weak points in a defense. And I think what you've seen over the last 3-4 weeks, let me rephrase. I would say the last 3.5 weeks, I'd say the first half against Detroit wasn't that bad. No. And maybe the second half against San Francisco was not that bad. But, I mean, you think about just a couple of plays, right? Cardinals game aside, the Rams are a couple snaps away from being 3-1. They're also a couple snaps away from being 0-4, and that's a huge problem. I think that's a huge problem. Man. We're a quarter of the way through the season now, and I think it's troubling when you're a quarter of the way through the season and you still don't know what your team identity is. We don't really know where this team, where it thrives the most. It clearly has had most of its success predominantly in the run game. I still have questions as to why we haven't seen Blake Corum quite as much, which I think will be answered hopefully soon. But I'm interested to hear what the post-game press conference lends itself to. I think that's always the interesting point, right? You hear it directly from the horse's mouth. So anyway, No Face Yellowtail going to be signing off here. We'll catch you at the next road game, since I don't do home games, and we'll see you next time. We'll reel it in.
Thank you, No Face Yellowtail, our resident scholar of all things Rams. Not that it takes a freaking scholar to see that Rams can't tackle worth a lick. Thanks to the linebacker position, for sure. Oh, man. All right. So, yeah, Bears 24, Rams 18. I'm sad. Tuna's sad. Tuna is sad right now. What, I see the heart. I see Miguel Hart and stuff because of the, because of me saying sad. People are loving the commentary. Really? Bluefin Yellowtail unite.
Really?
We're still on, by the way. Yeah. Just letting you know.
No Face Yellowtail?
No Face Yellowtail still on.
He's popular.
He's popular.
Okay.
Gotta have him back.
Hey, noted.
Chat, say thank you to No Face Yellowtail. No Face Yellowtail was, he's responsible for getting us sponsored by Trader Joe's Orange Chicken. I'm looking for the post-game presser from McVay right now. That was rough. Dude, I kind of want to, I'm not going to lie. Definitely feeling like I want to throw up in my mouth right now. That was ugly. That was terrible. For those of you just tuning in, see a few folks are in here right now. Yeah, that was bad. Just not even a good game. And they still haven't posted it yet. Dude, I don't understand. I'm gonna beat this dead fish to death right now. I'm going hard on the film breakdown that we post on tomorrow morning. Looking at why I keep saying these inside linebackers need to not be starting anymore. They need to not be starting anymore. This is absolutely terrible. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I honestly don't know what else to say. I said before, I'm all for. I'll take a loss. Like if you play well, play a good team, you just shit. Hey, something you can't win every game. It's football. But when it's like so blatantly obvious that the weaknesses are just so apparent, and I know fans always want to say it, like, oh, it's so easy for us to see how come the coaches can't. Obviously, we don't know what's behind the scenes. Maybe the other linebackers are don't know how to practice well at all. Maybe Spates is not good whatsoever. But from just just the 4 weeks that you've seen, hell, even before this game, the 3 weeks you saw with Reader and Roseboom, like, there's enough talent in this defense where, like, for real, this is the best that you guys can do. Definitely feel bad for that defensive line. Like, obviously, Verse missing tackles, missing sacks. I'm a little more forgiving on that because, yeah, it's a rookie. Like, he does rookie stuff. Like, he's got to make his mistakes. He's getting better each week. Like, he's doing really good things. He's a bright spot on that defensive line. Kobe Turner and Bobby Brown and Fisk are taking on double teams, fighting for their lives. So it's really hard to put a lot of blame on them when you're asking them to, hey, also take on these double teams. Oh, and also make every tackle because you have zero help behind you. That is an unfair critique to make. And it's an incorrect critique to make about this defense currently. And then also asking if you're relying on your secondary, relying on Lake, Kinchins, Curl, albeit they're good tacklers, if you're relying on them to make a majority of your tackles inside the box within that 5 to 6 yard like rushing range, you've got fucking problems. Both are just immediately symptoms of you have zero inside linebacker help. I don't really give a fuck what PFF says. PFF gives contextual stats, but they don't. Like, no stat's going to tell the whole story. Just with the eye test, you can tell Reader is a step behind in every single play. Always. He's just always behind. Roseboom, even if he's in the right spot, he plays so passively. He's constantly catching. Like, you don't want your linebacker constantly catching and waiting. He's waiting for a block. He's waiting for a running back to get to him. Almost like he's like just waiting. Like, don't wait, man. It shows zero instinct. Very frustrating. And then now they're showing the highlights. I can't do this. Anyways, what do we got next? Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, hanging out with me today. We're just at home watching this shit show of a game. What do we got coming up? I'm ready to eat something. I didn't even have breakfast. Thank God. I probably would have thrown it up if I did. What do we got? I'll do some film breakdown tonight. We'll post some film thoughts tomorrow morning, Monday, first thing, so that way we can see what the fuck even happened most of the time. Majority of that is going to be, again, focusing on that inside linebacker position. Shout out to Quentin Lake. He had a few good tackles. He had a sack. I'm not sure if that's his first sack, but looking like his pops out there getting his first sack. It's just messy, man. Stafford not getting any penalty calls, and he's getting hit right in the fucking head. That's rough. So, yeah. Tomorrow morning, we'll do our film breakdown, the All-22. Kind of look at some notes that I got. Rams lose. Rams fall to 1-3. Not sure what the stats are for that. But, yeah, we'll have some thoughts on how the rest of the season is going to go. Depressed Tuna here, signing out. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Later, guys.